What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we're going to talk about the live-action One Piece that has recently released on Netflix. I've been talking about it a lot during live streams and on social media, but I wanted to make a full breakdown video to give my full thoughts on this entire series. I am not a fan of the original source material, and when I say I'm not a fan of it, I mean I didn't have a lot of knowledge of it. I had seen a few episodes, so I understood a few of the characters, but nothing super in-depth. But watching this live-action version of One Piece, I was completely blown away. I was hooked from the very first episode, and it didn't let me go until I finished the last episode, which was episode number 8. Every single episode worked, and it worked incredibly well. And it has accomplished its goal, because not only am I a huge fan of the live action, I am now actively going back and watching the anime, and I am enjoying the hell out of that, and I think I'm going to get a lot more out of this world, obviously with over 1,000 episodes in the anime, but I am very much enjoying the world that it has created, and it's basically a teaser trailer for this entire massive world that is One Piece, something that I was not overly familiar with prior to seeing it, and that's what every live-action adaptation should do. It should make you want to find out more about this world. Give me more context, give me more knowledge, give me more information. And that's what so many of these have failed to do. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I think that this will surpass the anime in anyone's mind that has seen both of them, but I think most people that are a fan of the source material will appreciate what they are getting right here with this. Now, again, walking into it, didn't know a lot about it, knew a tiny bit, had saw several episodes, so I knew the characters, I knew some of the storylines that they were going to portray within this series, and all of it worked for me. I was blown away. Luffy is, in my opinion, in this short amount of time that I have spent with the anime, I like Luffy more in the live action for sure, but again, I'm very much early on into the anime, but let's just stick to the live action for a minute. Luffy is a fantastic character, and you actually care about him and his journey, and you understand why other people are willing to follow his lead within this world. He's very optimistic. He's got a great sense of adventure and personality, and it just works. And you're introduced into all of these amazing characters along the way, and you care about all of them. I care about all of their backstories, and you're connected to all of them. There's this one guy that's only in the episode he's in the series for, I think, 3 episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes. He's not a main character, but he's my favorite character that they interacted with. I think his name is Mihawk, and that guy was fascinating. Totally fascinating. What a badass. But you've got all of these awesome characters that are your mainline characters. You've got Sanji, I think is his name. You've got Nami. Usopp, I think that's how you say his name. Zoro. Zoro is so cool. I mean, Zoro should be playing Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow in a live-action G.I. Joe. Now, he would play Snake Eyes if he keeps his helmet on and he never takes it off, which he should. But if you're going to keep him with a helmet off or a mask off, then he would need to be Storm Shadow. The guy is phenomenal. He is unbelievably talented. And all of these characters matter, and you're connected to each and every one of them for different reasons. They all have the right motivations. Now, one thing that has caused some controversy, and obviously people that follow me are saying, hey, Jeremy, what about this? You need to know about this. Since you don't know about the source material, you need to know about this. And it is Nami's sister has been race swapped in the live action version. And of course, me being someone that didn't know a ton about the source material, I wasn't aware of this race swap. Now, I am against race swapping in general. It never makes sense, but I can also forgive it if the character that's being race swapped is not being used for a racial narrative or whatever. Now, will they do that in time? They could. They could. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But all I can talk about is what I have seen. So I compare this to something like Perry White in Man of Steel. I don't remember anyone having a problem with Lawrence Fishburne portraying that character, because that character wasn't there to be someone to bring up unnecessary racial tension in this story that had none of that. Look at Nick Fury, for instance, with Samuel L. Jackson. Everyone loved Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury until recently, when they've turned that character into a social justice propaganda machine. But in respect to what we saw in this particular 8 episodes, I had no problem with this whatsoever, outside of the fact that I just have a problem with it in general, and there's usually far deeper meaning to it. But all we saw was a good connection and a good relationship between two sisters, and I had no problem with that. And I didn't have any problem with any other characters, because it didn't seem like that they were trying to push any narratives or anything like that. I understand if people do. I totally understand that. I mean, for instance, I'm a G.I. Joe fan. There's a phenomenal G.I. Joe series, G.I. Joe Resolute movie, and there's a character named Dial Tone that they gender swapped in that G.I. Joe Resolute. Why did they do that? Well, it was completely unnecessary. There was no reason whatsoever other than to pander. Now, this was something that was made several years ago, but why was that done? Well, it didn't bother me. It didn't ruin the story for me, but it did go, why are we doing this? This makes no sense. So little things like that are always going to be an issue for me, but if you don't utilize them for the wrong reasons, at least it won't destroy the entire series for me. I loved everything about One Piece, the live action. I highly recommend anyone to go out there and check it out, because it takes you on the journey that you want to go on. Now, one thing I'll criticize, and it's not a criticism per se, it's just a nitpick, and I understand why they didn't have more time, but I would have liked to have seen a little more of the adventure. So, for instance, when you're on this journey with these characters, you just end up from point A to point B to point C to point D. Like, oh, we have to go here, and then they're there. And I wanted to see more of the journey, more of the time on the ocean, to try to help kind of expand that world for me a little bit better. But I understand there was time constraints, and they didn't have, they were trying to, you could tell that they were running through a lot of this just to get to where they wanted to go. I would have liked to have seen a little more adventure element, and hopefully I'm going to get that from the animated version, which is what everyone's telling me. Apparently, there's incredible world building in the anime. And again, at its core, this is all that the live action should do. And for me, it has. It has made me interested in the source material. It has not made me go, man, I don't want to know anything about this. It's not a Death Note situation where people watch the live action Death Note and it does nothing to resemble the anime at all. And no one watched the live action Death Note and said, oh, wow, this is so good. I want to go watch more of this. I need to understand more of this. No one did that. The only people that probably looked at it says, I hear Death Note's good. This is dog shit. So instead, I'm going to turn this live action off, and I'm going to try to go watch the anime because I've heard so much about it. But in terms of enjoyment, One Piece gave me everything to get me interested in this entire world, and that is the biggest compliment I can give this. From what I understand, from what I'm hearing, a lot of One Piece fans are enjoying it. I'm sure there's some that are out there not enjoying it, and I've heard from some people that are really unhappy about some of the decisions with the casting and everything like that. I totally respect that. I totally understand. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, but I am a complete normie going into this, and now, because of my enjoyment, I am now going back and then I'm enjoying the anime. And there's little things that I'm noticing, little storylines that they definitely changed certain things up here and there from what I'm seeing in the anime to this, but I get it. But there's a lot of whimsical characters in this. There's a lot. And it's weird when you go from anime to live action, that's a very hard thing to kind of take that animated world where these whimsical, weird characters and turn them into live action. And there were some weird characters in this live action anime, and it all worked. It all worked. Some of the stuff should have been cheesy, but it worked. It made sense. I was completely invested. I was bought in because Luffy made me interested. He made me interested in his journey, and therefore I cared about everyone else's journey. I cared about Nami. I cared about Zoro, Usopp. I cared about every single character's journey, and it was just awesome to have that feeling. And we don't have that feeling as much as we used to. And it was nice to have that. So all I can tell you is I loved it. I highly recommend it. I would love for you to tell me why I'm wrong if you disagree with me, or if there are more knowledgeable One Piece fans out there. Please tell me why I'm wrong. Please tell me why you disagree with me. I would love to hear it. It's not going to change my opinion because I loved this, and I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to watch the anime, and now I'm officially a One Piece fan. So I will continue on this journey, and I'm excited about it. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.